Hi again, YouTube. It's me. I'm back. I've finished my homework for the day, and I'm pretty much waiting for some friends to get on Skype so I can record stuff for my gaming channel. So I thought I'd make an actual video because, first off, there's something happened today that was a little unexpected. Because of my gaming channel, I was talking to my father about Battlefield 4 because he has a passing interest in first-person shooters, and I offered to show him a quick video, which is still on this channel that I need to take down, so I won't even link you to it. It probably won't be on this channel anytime in the future, but I made a quick little 30-second, 40-second video of me playing the Battlefield 4 open beta with a friend of mine, Alex, and Cody, both of which are YouTubers, both of which you'll see on my gaming channel. They we they knocked a building down on top of me. I thought it was hilarious. I uploaded it. It was on this channel, but it'll be relocated to my gaming one shortly. Regardless, I showed him this video, but in doing so, I didn't think it through. I left the search for the name Mediocre Paragon on their PlayStation YouTube. So yesterday I went off to a ginormous national forest to kind of mess around in nature for a day and be off the grid. They spent the day watching YouTube, and so I come home to, hey guys, what's up? Trip was fun. How did you get along? We watched your YouTube videos. Be it because I possess a modicum of actual talent, or because I'm their spawn and therefore they're predisposed to liking it. They didn't hate them, so my parents watched 37 short videos of me. I know I took that risk when I put these on the internet, but it still is odd to hear, hey, your stuff doesn't suck. Yeah, I don't even know why I mentioned that. So during said trip into the wilderness, I took this with me, and man, my bed's a mess. I'm a member of several clubs on campus, and one of which has a longtime professor on campus in it. And at the end of the semester, at the honors night ceremony, all the officers from this club are brought on stage, and she hands out a couple of parting tokens, because at community colleges, officers usually last a semester. I've lasted 5. She gave us journals. Being a writer, I like having paper with me, and this is close-ish to the size of my wallet, and it's also pretty damn close to the size of my phone. I mean, it is quite large, but it will fit in the same pocket that this will. So it makes carrying this around not as bulky as you would expect it to be. The problem is, I've stopped carrying it, because if I do carry this and a wallet and a phone, what happens is either the phone or the wallet becomes one of the extra items in my mind. So when I pat my pockets and feel this, I think it's this, which means this can get lost quite easily, which pretty much boils down to I'm just a scatterbrained idiot. Regardless, I looked through this journal for the first time in a while yesterday, because of, well, I had to sit in a man named Danny's driveway for 2.5 hours yesterday because my brake line exploded, and the only guy in driving distance, if you have no brakes, was a man named Danny, who was stupidly nice and seemed to be a very knowing mechanic, but everyone just referred to him as Danny. There was no like, oh, well, he used to work here. It's just the guy has a big-ass garage full of a lot of expensive tools, and he just swapped out my brake line. No warning, just did it. But in the result, I got really bored, had no cell signal because the people of Gloucester, Illinois don't believe in that sort of thing. We ended up talking, and I ran out of stuff to talk about, so I started looking through here. The sad thing about my journal is there is one section where I actually did follow through and do some content, and then there's sections where it's just a page with something written at the top of it because I intended to make notes that day. Like, the day I came up with Ticket Stub Reviews, I wrote Gravity at the top of that page, thinking that as soon as I came out of the theater, I would sit down with a pen and go nuts, writing down notes for Gravity, make a real review. I didn't. I felt lazy. I made Ticket Stub Reviews. Don't you love behind-the-scenes information? There are whole short story ideas in here that I want to write. You can tell what kind of mood I was in by looking at this. Like, I was really in a sci-fi section right here when I started writing about the ideals of rogue planets and whatnot. Artificial intelligence. The other thing is, it's fun talking about a journal in front of you guys because I can do this, and partially because I can't render this in HD because I don't know the interlay settings yet, and partially because I have the worst handwriting ever known to man. I dare someone with human eyes to read that. That's the first page of my journal. This journal is a collection of ideas, propositions, and realizations to daily life, extraordinary or not. And then my signature. Because I thought, if I lose this, I might as well lose it with flair. Primarily, this journal consists of conversations, notes, and for those of you that don't know, Conversations is the title I gave this short story I started working on in 2011, which I started calling a book, and now it's 20,000 something words long, and I love it, I hate it, I don't know what to do with it, I love messing around trying to figure out what to do with it. Writing's a pain in the ass because it's more fun to talk about the damn thing than it is to actually do it, which is actually a fact about life if you think about it. I mean, it's more fun to stand around an engine going, yep, that's broke, than to be the guy with his knuckles bleeding, sitting in the middle of a hot frickin' metal sheath trying to get a bolt out that hasn't been moved in 20 years. You can see conglomerations of any sort of subculture will join around the actual doing of a thing to get the contact high of he's doing the thing instead of doing the thing. Talking about writing, much more fun than actual writing. Nowhere near as satisfying as when you actually do finish something. On that note, I probably should start writing more things, partially because I have an open mic coming up next week, and partially because I'm tired of saying I have nothing finished to read at open mics, fictional or otherwise. I will say I probably won't ever read much fiction at an open mic or submit much fiction to those kinds of things because my fiction tends to be either really long or needs a lot of setup. If I were a guest reader, which I probably never will be, but if the thing about guest readers is they have a half hour to fill so they can say, I wrote this poem stoned off my ass on opiates in New York in 1975, so that's why I'm writing about a rubber duck. Let's go. And then they read the poem. When you just have it on a piece of paper randomly or you just start reading it, there's no context, so you have to build the context in. And for me, that means short story. On the subject of poetry, on Tuesday I went to an open mic night event. I might have mentioned this to some of you, I might have not. If you'll give me 1 second to grab the evidence. I'm back. So, I bought a couple things while I was there. In a nearby city, there is an open mic night that has been running for quite some time, over a decade from what I've been told. And in 2000, well, in 2013, I came by and started doing my own open mic night in my town, copying them to a T, except for how I schedule things, and that was actually a bad idea on my part. And as a result, it's kind of given a teeny shot in the arm to the artistic community. So, but going to these things, I've made a fatal flaw every damn time. I've been the host, so I never got to enjoy it because I'm sitting there looking at my watch, making sure the person's on time. I always put my back to the performance so I can keep an eye on the crowd, make sure everyone's actually having fun, and I'm constantly making notes, trying to make the introductions and whatnot I say brief and funny so people don't get bored. I don't mind that one bit, but getting to go to an open mic night where I had zero officiating responsibilities to do was really fresh, and it gave me it was just so relaxing, and it gave me this idea that writing isn't as futile as it seems sometimes. Case in point, whenever, by the way, this is a Hot Type Cold Read by Tony Brewer. He was one of the guest readers at Third Tuesday Open Mic Coffee House. For those of you that want to see it, Third Tuesday has a Facebook page, which I'll link in the description if you're anywhere near Owensboro. That's where you go to see it. This guy was one of the headliners at Third Tuesday when I was at it. And while he was awesome, this isn't really about him. It's about the fact that these, in general, these teeny tiny things, they're either chapter books or poetry books. It's smooth. It's always about that size. You can never find these on an actual, well, that one, man, that's a lie. You could never find that on an actual bookshelf. Generally, there's not anything even on the spine. It's just continued color from the front and back cover art. These tiny books may have ISBN numbers, and they may be popular in their local areas. But any of you who live outside of my local area who've never heard of Tony Brewer before probably will never see this book. I never would have if I had never gone to Third Tuesday. I never would have heard of it myself. Which makes the collector in me a little bit intrigued. Literary magazines, poetry books, chapter books, these things have so much effort and time put into them. I mean, these poems, there's only one per page. There's not like, this isn't Beowulf or some epic. He had to boil it down to, we can only afford to have these many poems, these many pages in the book, what can I fit in? I'm not saying an actual like collection of poetry published by some huge publisher doesn't deal with the same problems, but there's probably only about 200 or 300 of these in existence right now. And let's face the facts, there's probably only about 400 or 500 of any one of these, small books in existence at any one time. Usually the bare minimum that they can buy from a printer without, having to pay specific, really, really exorbitant prices. The fact that this sounds quite hipster to say I would like to collect something that's so exclusive, but I think it's more of, these have effort put into them. These are pure, honest, hard work by an author, and I bought this directly from the author. In fact, not only did I buy this from Tony Brewer, but I bought something else, which I'll show you at the end of this video, and it's freaking awesome. Also, there's a college in the same city as Third Tuesday that publishes its own literary magazine. Open 24 hours is the literary magazine of Brescia College. I bought the 2011 one for 3 reasons. One, an old teacher of mine's essay is in it. It's a particular essay of his I like. 2, a friend of mine's poem is in it, which he read it that night and I liked it. 3, it's cheaper than the newest one, and the newest one didn't have the other 2 reasons in it. So, yeah. These things, I want more. I want to run around the local area and meet as many random English teachers and roller derby announcers and find this kick-ass work they have available. And I would highly suggest to you that if you know of an open mic night around, as hipster and beatnik as it may sound, poetry readings too, find something where local people come and read, because there's gonna be 4 people that are regulars. There's gonna be the guest readers who are probably close friends with the people in charge. Probably the people in charge either have some connection to local colleges or they are themselves from local colleges, and you're going to see a bunch of content that you never would see on your own. I will haul my ass down to Third Tuesday whenever I can now. I get to see things performed live I never have or never will see again at these things. That's part of it, but the other part of it is, it makes me want to write. For those of you who know him and me at the same time, one of the organizers of Third Tuesday is Jason Cuba Rhodes, who also runs the channel A Litany of Awesome Things. He was performing some music as a warm-up act on Tuesday, and just sitting there alone watching him trade off one song with another guy up on stage who would then play one song and they would just kind of knock back and forth. Just watching them sit up there, it was an experience of like, almost, I don't want to say jazz because that's kind of stereotypical, but it was almost jamming, almost, because one would start playing a song and you would see the other guy start to either play the bass line on his instrument or start tapping the beat onto the side of the guitar, or even go as far as to start singing backup vocals. Either it was really, really well scripted, and this is just a thing they do, or that was just natural musicianship. I don't think that's a word. Either way, this is a thing that only happened in that exact moment, in that exact time. And it was frickin' awesome. Free admission. Sometimes there's booze at these things. I really don't see a reason not to go to them. If you have any sort of, if you live anywhere near a large city, I guarantee you there's something like this in your area. If you live in the area of Owensboro, Kentucky, I would suggest checking out Third Tuesday in the description below. Otherwise, let's talk about the goofy fun thing I got. One sec. I'm back. In my state, there is a film company that has produced one horror movie a year for nearly a decade now. Between the awesomeness of the fact that these people have normal lives and then they spend their free time filming movies, I kind of got sucked in. And there's this wonderful mix because early on, um, there's this air of cheesiness to them that can only be encapsulated if you go watch the original The Evil Dead. Because The Evil Dead was a movie that tried to be a horror movie. It does everything it can to be a horror movie, and it is a horror movie, but it's also freaking hilarious. I'm not saying they're bad movies, but I'm saying the best cheesy movies are ones that try their goddamn hardest to be the best movie they can. And maybe they don't quite make it, but you cannot fault them for trying. So, I've been in the habit of going to their premieres and whatnot, and as a result, I'm starting to get a stack of horror movies that you've never heard of, most of which are covered in signatures by the people that are in them. Also, the guy that played Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is in this one. So, when I was at Third Tuesday, I was looking at the stack of books by Tony Brewer, and then this came into my field of vision. This is a roller derby movie with zombies. There are several possibilities with this, chief among which being it's a kick-ass movie. It's a kick-ass movie with great production, or it's a kick-ass movie with horrible production, or it's just a horrible movie, period. Either way, I want to do a review of it, and I haven't even opened the frickin' shrink wrap yet. This is just an awesome concept. This is the B-est of B movies I have. This poster, I know it's a DVD cover, but let's face it, it's poster too. This poster is the B-est of B movies I have seen this year, and this is just I cannot wait to watch this thing. I'm gonna try and con some friends into watching it with me. Screw it, I'm gonna call this an episode of productivity. Go Here's your homework. Go to a local thing and either read some of your work or watch other people read their work. And if you have one, take your notebook. Because I have friends who have notebooks like these. They write. Guess what happens when they go to open readings? You'll see them look at the. They will watch the people reading sometimes. But what's going to happen is they'll be looking down their books like this the entire time. And that's not them being rude. That's the fact that that's the writing center of their brain clicking, and they have to start putting something to paper because it starts giving you this feeling that you have an idea. You have an idea, and it has to be on paper because if it's not, it's going to go away. I know this for a fact. Every writer knows this. And every new writer feels like that's some kind of life hack when they find it out that, dude, you know, if you keep paper on you, you can write down your ideas and then you have them. It's crazy. You don't even have to wait to get back home to type them into Word. I've written 500 words of my novel in one sitting on my phone, just trying to keep the ideas from running away from me. So there's your homework. Go watch a reading of some sort, participate in it if you want extra credit, even though I don't actually give credit. And you know what? Just have fun. Because why not? You know? I'm done talking. You go watch some other videos or go read a book. You know, screw it, go read a book. Let's do that. I'd like that. I'm sure you would too.